Okay, for our next speaker, let me introduce him. He started his architectural practice in 2018 and has worked extensively with local authorities across nearly every state in Peninsular Malaysia. His diverse portfolio, including small renovations, pemutihan, individual bungalows, and mass developments, has exposed him to a wide range of ad hoc requirements imposed by officers, some of which are not directly relevant to the projects at hand. Drawing from his extensive experience in navigating these challenges, he will share practical insights and strategies to help the audience effectively manage similar situations when dealing with local authorities. Please welcome Architect Azizul Azwar, a Principal of Azizul Azwar Architect, Director at IPM Professional Services Sdn Bhd, and Managing Partner at Trans-Regional Architecture Group.
Let me get my drink first. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Because like Architect Azumi earlier, I'm also having a little bit cough. Sekarang ni kan musim dia, so I just have to get drinks ready lah. Okay, anyway, so when I saw my my names was listed or arranged during after lunch, so I think I have to change a bit my mode of presentations. Kalau tak, normally my presentation will be macam more on facts, and then the direction of this session is actually to share about objective challenges or opportunities we can practice or do to overcome whatever challenge that we have. So, tapi lepas tengok Shah arrange my name after lunch, macam this is really challenging actually, kan? Just to deliver the message, and another one is to keep you guys awake, right? Inshallah. Okay. So this is actually insight from our practice, from our experience through 6 or 7 years in the market lah. So a little bit about me. So our moderator did explain that I'm also a principal of Azizul Azwar Architect. It's a sole practice. I'm a IPM Professional Services Sdn Bhd. It's a MDP, multi-dip, in 2020. And 2 years later, we formed a Trans-Regional Architecture Group. It's a partnership firms. All right, besides that, I'm also active in social media. So I share a lot about public sharing lah. Basically, try to reach local people. Try to reach laymen, using a language that people could understand. Right. So yeah, we share about the need, and then that's how we get reach out to people. Sebab susah nak explain kat klien actually. When we do submissions, it's not just as simple as lukis-lukis, submit, lulus dan bina rumah kan. But that was being sold by the contractors, betul tak? Kan? So bila contractor approach the client, cakap senang je ni, you pilih nak buat apa, beritahu budget berapa, kita submit, then suruh bina rumah kan. But they don't tell actually how long the process will go, siapa yang sepatutnya buat. So we do that approach. So this is our footprint throughout the 6 years too. So we've been in various PBT lah. Banyak lagi uncharted region yang kita tak jumpa. Tapi yang ni pun dah cukup. Orang cakap pecah kepala lah, saya cakap kan. Our staff pun sampai bergaduh dengan PBT pun dah cukup lah. But alhamdulillah, so far we are surviving lah with these numbers. Tapi today I'm going to share about 3 experience with 3 local authorities. One is, the first is Majlis Daerah Hulu Selangor. At that particular time, it was MDHS, right? And now, and the next is MBPJ, Majlis Bandaraya Petaling Jaya. And next is Alu Gajah, our home office, ground zero kita orang lah. My office is in Melaka. So some of you might know how we operate our firms. So basically, we pay our staff based on project. Satu project kita bayar dalam 20,000, 30,000 for example. You siap project, then you ni lah, right? So why I explain this, because it will show how my staff react to the local authorities. Kan? Kalau you tak dapat approval, tak dapat payment lah, kan? So that's how my staff, dia sanggup going to length extent when they jumpa local authorities. So the first case is cadangan membina sekolah agama swasta, which is Pusdai, Hulu Selangor, Selangor Darul Ihsan. Okay. We were appointed in 2019, dah lama. Actually sampai sekarang belum settle lagi. Tak apa kan. Tapi bangunan dah siap. So of course this is pemutihan projects. Dah siap, and then one of the turning point was bila Tafiz Ulu Keramat terbakar, kan? At that particular time, satu Selangor buat pemutihan, one of it is this Tafiz lah. So we were engaged before that lagi, cuma dia not really sure dia nak pursue ketat lah, kan? Tapi 2019 sampai 21 tu is a long process for KM. Ada tukar syarat, ada bangunan yang dah terlebih, setbacks, so macam tu. In 2021, March, an officer requested for financial aid dari kita, kan. So my staff ni cakap, kita baru habis COVID ke masa tu, kan. Ataupun at that time PKP macam tu lah, that particular time. So we were not sure how to react to that. It was like one of our earliest project. Dan kita pun tak ada experience dealing with officer yang minta duit ni, kan, tak erti. But I think you guys know lah macam mana, kan. So we send an email. The most logical query ataupun direction would be the bahagian undang-undang lah of the local authorities. So reach out, tanya dia macam mana. Then they advise us, you go to unit integrity and then issue a complete evidence. So I'm going to share you how the evidence would be. And officer and just requested financial aid. Okay. So yeah, we send an email to ni, saya bagi tahu lah, my name is Azizul, lepas tu ada project S2, and then we have like possible, not sure, kan, is it really, orang cakap, minta rasuah, ataupun minta duit, ataupun just tak tahu siapa, ataupun scammer, kan. So just ni, and then the officer replied, cakap, okay, apa-apa aduan ni you refer kepada unit integrity. And then what we did, yes, copy paste soalan yang sama, tapi kita forward kepada unit integrity lah, Cik Abdullah Syahrul, kan. I'm not sure dia dah ada lagi ke tak sekarang. Alright, tapi we blurred the name, sebab kita pun tak ni, kan. For this particular issue, we censored lah the name. Right. So, okay, the first thing is kita tanya, adakah pertanyaan ini termasuk dalam kategori salah laku di MDHS ataupun just macam, oh, this just tak ada apalah, officer bergurau je kot, macam tu lah, kan. So, the second, adakah identiti saya pelapor ni akan didahkan kepada umum dan pesalah. Kenapa kita concern? Because we don't want our project to get jeopardized. We come to the third issue. Kan, kita tak nak, bila kita buat laporan tu, nanti ada payback session dengan kita, kan. Adakah laporan tu? So, tu. So, fair enough. The officer replied quite fast. Dia cakap, dia akan bekerjasama lah dengan kita. Then we take certain action, depend on the evidence. So, okay, then upon the approval, the consent atau confirmation, then we shared the chats, kan? And then the evidence that this is the right person, this the bukannya scammer lah. Kadang-kadang you get a scammer yang pakai nombor phone phishing, kan? You get scammer phishing pakai nombor lama, tapi rupanya orang lain. So the first one thing kita minta lah our staff call that person tu, betul ke tak ni? Ini puan N ke? Kan? So macam tu. So yeah, this is the chat. Kan? Saya nak guna wang sikit. Nampak kan? Ni kan. My staff pun panik kejap. Ni puan ke? So, so itulah. So that's what we did. Dan kita tambah lagi maklumat kita bagi tahu kat dia. Ni nombor telefon petuduh dan contoh di gambar lembakan dan tarikh perbualan melalui WhatsApp berlaku lah. Meaning that we have engaged with her so many time before. And then we saw the pattern actually, kenapa minta dokumen-dokumen ni nak jumpa petang, nak jumpa malam, after office hour kan. So it start trigger, tapi macam kawan saya ni handsome juga actually. Kita punya staff ni ingatkan nak mengorat kan. Genuinely we thought that lah kan. But then there's something else. So we shared the evidence of calls, WhatsApp, and show to the officer. So we have the history chat, history call, number, apa yang dia nak ni kan, macam nanti. So this kind of thing macam sending us mixed signal actually. Kita nak buat apa ni dengan this officer. Yeah, so what we did was we get advice from undang-undang and then directed to us to integrity. That was the first time I heard of unit integrity lah actually. Throughout my practice saya tak pernah dengar pun. Tak tahu apa unit ni kan. So actually there's another unit yang memang menjaga, orang cakap, make sure everything is on the straight path lah nak cerita. So so after we commented, and then alhamdulillah our approval bidding plan tu okay lah. It was processor, tak ada masalah. And then when we saw tu, officer dah tak ada dah kat sini. Kan. I don't know what happened to her. So far cari tak jumpa lah. Kan. Hopefully dia tak ada kat sini. So in a way macam we trust the system. It's supposed to be like a OSC system yang try to avoid us in terms of engaging officer in this ill manner, ill intention kan. Tapi there's a chance somewhere yang still we having that, facing that difficulties and with intention. Right. So I will take, we're not start giving money lah actually. Intention to ease your submissions. Dia tak ada faedah pun. Right. And then effective response and action from integrity, which I have to applaud. They really did help us throughout the process. I'm not sure my name ni keluar ke tak kat sana, kan? Hopefully tak lah. And then our BP submission was smooth, kan? So of course lah, yang lain-lain tu ada lagi compliant. Currently we doing compliant lah. Ada building masih lagi selanggar setback. We doing we pujuk klien supaya roboh building yang ni. So we saw that, we acknowledge that integrity from local authority really works in making their team in check. So that's case number 1. Case number 2 is permohonan KM bagi cadangan meroboh sebuah rumah, roboh dan bina semula. Rumah kecil je setingkat. Okay. So we appointed in 2020. Ini Arkitek Aman cakap dia kan, smart development. So submission KM was done by us, and then we get the approval. Tak lama, 5 bulan je, 5-6 bulan. Kan. And then product adalah ada due to family matter. Tak ada. And then we have to resubmit again melalui smart development. Awal-awal tu tak ada, awal tu submit biasa je. Alright, and then resubmit KM hard copy. So the process is you have to resubmit smart development, approve, syarat keluar surat tu, and then you have to submit hard copy pula. Kan? Betul tak man? Alright, and then we have to, then apa tu kita dapat lah. I don't want to go to the length process dia macam mana kan, nak share sikit lah. Tapi we have some specific issue yang kita kena, rasa kena tighten lah. It doesn't so smart lah bila kita we face that. So I think smart development ni rasa dekat PJ je kan? Ada tempat lain kan? Tak ada kan? Pak PJ je. So it was for, it is actually for KM submission. So kalau nampak yang saya bulatkan ni, this is one of the thing that you have to tak tahu nak cakap. Dia macam isu kecil tapi diperbesarkan. Tuan-tuan. Pernah buat smart development tak? Pernah? Tak ramai kan? Okey, saya ceritalah. Best ni. Smart development ni actually for us to submit KM. Tapi one of the criteria kat sini, kita kena buat pemancangan papan tanda di notis lah, di tapak. 7 hari, tuan-tuan. 7 hari kena pancang di tapak. And then sebelum pancang tapak, tuan-tuan kena submit lah online kan. Kena ambil gambar signboard tu dikilang sebelum dipasang. Ambil gambar, bagi ke officer cakap okey, dah boleh. And then kita kena hantar arrange pasang. Tarikh pasang tu tarikh yang di sinilah. Tarikh ni lah, tarikh yang bawah ni kan. Bila pasang, bila buka. Lepas tu 7 hari kena runtuk, kena buang balik, kena ambil gambar, buang signage tu. Ya, so kalau kita punya ada isu yang macam hari hujan kan, hari hujan kita tak boleh pasang on that certain day. So tarikh tu jadi lambat sikit, kena buka balik, tampal tarikh baru, ambil gambar balik. Ni. Tapi tak nak ambil gambar kat sini, kena ambil gambar kat kilang. Nampak macam doesn't make sense, kenapa kena ada ni? Kan? So So ini adalah isu yang bagi saya kecil tapi diperbesarkan lah. Right. It's unnecessary punya hurdle for us to submit. Dia tak masuk lagi yang lain-lain ni kan. Okay. So that's one of the thing yang ni. And then kat tempat sini, menurunkan papan tanda notis makluman tanah berjiran. Dah pasang, kena turunkan. One of syarat, which is definitely kita akan turun, tapi it's there. For no reasons lah actually. Kan? Compliance. So itu antara spesifik isu lah yang kita ni. And then we went back and forth for so many times. Isu signage saja. Signage ni. Dan dah lulus, dah settle tu, dia akan keluar satu surat kelulusan, right? So surat kelulusan tu, okay, kita go through balik. So pada 3 bulan 5 ni, we receive the KM bersyarat. So they have a letter, dan ada syarat dia. Syarat dia antara tadilah yang kena turunkan signage, everything kan. And then pukul 30 bulan 5, kita cuba submit hard copy. Sebabnya kita tak ada syarat KM tu dalam drawings. Dalam drawing KM tuan-tuan, syarat tu kena salin balik, tulis balik dalam plan. Right, which is it was never stated somewhere, anywhere. It was never stated anywhere. Dalam dia punya checklist tak ada, dalam dia punya syarat pun tak cakap. Syarat ni kena letak copy paste dalam plan. It was not stated. So the next day tu saya marah macam staff, kenapa tak tulis masa, tak tahu ke, tak tanya dulu kan. Then my staff pun pergilah balik, sedih kan. Dia pun okey lah. Pukul 3 petang dia cuba submit. Dia buat balik, submit, print, pergi dapat client sign, tolak sebab tulisan kecil kan. KM ni tahu tak berapa salinan nak kena? 9 kan? 9 plus 1 linen. 8 sampai ada lah. 1 linen. Ya. So 2 kali print dah. 1, 2. 2 kali print. The next day tu, my staff tu memang tak tidur lah hari tu. Kan? 31, 10 pagi cuba submit hard copy. Ditolak sebab tak ada huruf E. E, bracket, itu tak ada. Nanti saya tunjuk macam mana rupa E tu kan. Doesn't make sense. Tapi itulah yang jadi kat kita. And then kita, actually 6 bulan ni kita submit jugalah. Kita submit, petang tu kita submit lagi. Kita tulis pakai tangan kan. Kita tulis submit pakai tangan, submit. Lepas tu 6 bulanan, officer call kita, cakap submission ditolak sebab bukan tulis tangan, kita tampal. Kita print, tampal. E saja. Print atas kata A4, tampal. Nak bagi nampak cantik kononnya. Tapi reject. Kesan tampal ni. Right? And then kita resubmit. 10 bulan 4. Dapat klien sign. Berapa kali dah? Berapa kopi dah kan? So, 28 bulan 6 kita dapat approval lah. Alhamdulillah. Rasa macam nak buat sujud syukur macam tu kan. Buat kenduri kawit ni. Kat kenduri. Tapi itulah. So, tapi what I didn't share is actually tengah ni, ada lagi komen sebenarnya yang berlaku. Dia cakap ulasan font terlalu kecil, right? Dan ulasan dibatalkan. Ulasan kecil lah. Dia keluar satu surat, dia cakap ulasan terlalu kecil. So yalah, macam my staff ni orang muda, maybe orang yang check tu mungkin orang tua kan, tapi actually tak juga, orang sama, bayi-bayi kita, bayi-bayi tuan-tuan semualah kan. Right. Tapi dia cakap ulasan tak cukup besar untuk dibaca. So apa tulisan yang besar tu? What are the standard? So dia keluar satu surat ulasan bagi tahu saiz font apa yang dia nak. Spesifik tuan-tuan. Kan? Tapi after a while we found out that pengarah pun tak tahu surat tu keluar. Kan? Nanti kita share surat tu lah. So my staff ni memang dia ni macam Roy lah, orang cakap darah muda kan. So dia memang dia complain lah actually, dia complain kepada integrity. So of course dia tanya nak complain macam mana lah. So we had experience tadi kan, yang minta duit. So kita ni okay, what you can do, you report to integrity lah, right? So kita bagi tahu dia siapa nama pegawai apa semua. First of all kita tak bagi tahu lah, kita nak tahu is it possible, is it salah laku ke tak, kan? Right? So these are the rentetan lah. Kita cerita balik, dia nak tahu macam mana sequence of the events to happen lah. Right? Apa yang officer tu tak tahu, my staff ni memang before that memang dia dah on the phone pasal signage tu. Kan? Memang dah kena maki dah dengan officer. But he has no evidence. But this time dia record. Dia bawa dia punya itu, dia record. And then he have managed to record all the orang cakap wordings lah comes from the officer. Okay, macam tadi yang first tadi kita tanya berapa size fontnya sebenarnya kan, kat mana yang cakap semua, but then it was not shared. There's no evidence kat mana yang itu kena buat. Kan? So macam-macam lah dia cakap, surat draft lah, tulisan tu kecil tapi tak ada cakap yang besar kat mana kan. So okay, my staff macam 30 Mei tu dia cakap okay lah, kita buat je lah. Right. Dan 31 Mei tu kita submit lagi 9 set. 10 semua. Kan, 9 plus 1 linen. Alright. Tulisan E tu. Mana tadi? Ni kan. Kita cuba buat dengan pen sebenarnya. Tanya dia, boleh tak kita tulis dengan pen je? Dia tak bagi. Kan. Tapi bila kita keluar balik, officer tu kena marah dengan kawan dia. Cakap, kau ni ini pun nak komen ke? So bila macam kita dengar, oh, rupanya dia seorang je actually yang giving hard time to others, kan? Right. So 9 bulan tadi kita dapat call, ada tu 10 bulan kita submit balik lah. Right. Mana? So lepas tu then ini another ni lah. Right. Okay. So inilah surat yang kita terima lah. Kalau tuan-tuan baca kan. Arahan bertulis bawah section 21B kurungan 2, 3 dan 4. Kurungan B 2, 3 dan 4 adalah berhubung pelan susun atur. Tak ada kaitan pun dengan tulisan font. Kan? So we did a draft lah actually. Kita dah buat draft letter nak submit kan. Going on battle mode lah kononnya. Tapi tak sempat tu dia dapat call, my staff tu pergi sana. Jumpa dengan pengarah yang sign ni lah. Kan? So we had ni. Kebetulan nama staff saya pun Azizi Azizi apa nama dia? Azizi Afifi. So AA juga. So the officer tu ingat tu Azizul Azwar. Tak apalah, cakap tak apalah. Kan, janji selesai masalah ni kan. So officially surat tu terbatal lah. During that session tu, officer pun terkejut. Kenapa kita terima surat ni ya? Kenapa kita keluar surat ni ya? Rasanya tak ada kaitan ni, tak apalah, dibatalkan. Sebab apa? Kalau ikutkan font ni, ini rupanya. Drawing tu jadi macam ni ha. Dengan size font, dengan drawings. Right. Saya harap tuan-tuan tak tengoklah design projek ni ya. Tengok tulisan je lah, isu je. But there's a bit side note actually. Design ni was designed with love lah sebenarnya. Walaupun nampak macam tu, tapi it was designed by a son to a not healthy father. So there are banyak-banyak benda lah yang we ni. So this what the plan originally rejected. Awal-awal tu yang cakap kena ni kan. So inilah tuan-tuan, font ni kita kena salin balik, masukkan dalam drawing. Without this you have to ni. Benda tu tak ada PDF. You have to salin balik. You have to dedicated budak intern seorang tolong tulis, masukkan ni. Right? So apa yang E tadi E yang tak ada Kalau tuan tengok ni A, B, contoh saya tak nampak sangat ni. A, B, C, D, E kan. E tu tak ada. E tu bukannya the whole content. E tu tak ada. Kena print balik, hantar balik 9 set, 10 set tadi. Yeah. Which is for us is unreasonable lah. Kan? We think. Right. Tapi alhamdulillah along the way the officer itself, pengarah itself pun tak setuju with the actions. So dia dismiss the officer from our project lah. Kan? Hopefully dismiss from all of your project lah. Kan? Kalau tak ngadap dia. Nampak nama dia tak kisah. Ada kan? Alright. So sport development system ni actually confusing lah sebenarnya. Kan? Some process redundant with no clear instruction. Tak tahu dia nak apa. Sit down. Yes, correct. Betul. Kan? Sit down. Bila kita nak buat tu memang down. Kena tunggu the next day. And then one of the reason, yes, kita punya signage tu tak boleh update tu. Sebab tu lah system down. Dalam kita Photoshop je tarik. Kan? Gambar tu angle sama apa semua tapi kita Photoshop je. Terpaksa lah. Kan? They want a specific tu, which is confusing lah. And then the Dewan was neither dealt with, nor removed from the throne actually. So yang saya dapat tahu, he's still there. Kan? Still giving hard times to other architects. So hopefully if you have time, please report him juga. Sebab officer dia pernah cakap, we don't have enough evidence ataupun report lah. Again. Okay. Alright, so that is case number 2. And case number 3. Cadangan menaik taraf kompleks air panas Gadik. Kalau siapa-siapa from Melaka, you are most welcome to come. Dah siap dah projek ni. Again. So this one is Lautan Tapak tu 12.9 Lautan Tapak oleh Jabatan Juruterang Bangunan Jabatan Bangunan lah. And then kawalan bangunan tu, kawalan bangunan. Then bulan 9 tu kawalan bangunan ada bagi ulasan with a letter without specific dates. Dia ada September 24 je. Ulasan dia kita letak tu lah. Ulasan dia untuk kita untuk kita dapat pindaan pelan lulus tu, there's ulasan yang for us not reasonable actually. Kan? Kita nak masuk CC ni nak macam APU dah kejar kita. Kan? Kementerian Kewangan, tak ingat apa. Dia hopping on this as well lah. Sebab kenapa CC tak boleh keluar kan? Tapi sebab pindaan pelan belum lulus. Alright. And then we have like mesyuarat khas status CCC dengan local authority, dengan client, dengan MCOP, Melaka Corporation. And then we have to reply lah. We have to, this time we have to like pejam mata lah actually kita cakap. Somehow we get a spirit cakap, no lah, I don't want to accept your comment, something like that. Kan? So after 5 years, macam berani lah sikit. Kalau macam 2 tahun dulu, I tak berani kot nak tulis juga macam tu. Kan? Tapi after a while, we understand that it's our right to issue CC. It's our right to respond kalau PBT ni dia tak, the comments are not relevant. So yes, YDP setujulah dia keluarkan kelulusan. Dia cakap arkitek kena responsible for whatever that you ni lah, which is memang pun kan. And then 35th October kita issue CC. So ini adalah ulasan daripada JKB Kawalan Bangunan. Alright, perlu kemukakan borang G1, G21 yang telah lengkap, kita nak submit pelan lulus. Dia dah minta G1, G21, which is tak relevant. Tapi tak apalah, kita cakap kita dalam proses. Kan? Salinan resip bayaran premium, cakap tak berkaitan ni tuan. Kan? So, yang lain-lain tu macam perlu kemukakan pelan pindaan susunan atur bangunan yang bercanggah dengan kelulusan, which is akan patuhi dia nak tahu apa benda yang ni. And then dia cakap perlu buat kerja kemasan bagi tempat letak kenderaan OKU. Kita dah ada marking OKU tu, tapi dia nak colour biru spesifik. Dia nak colour biru cat on tar. Kat tar tu dia nak colour biru lah. Cakap tak apalah, kita buat je lah kan. Kontraktor cakap okay lah, kontraktor nak buat, then okay. And then semak tu dalam draw off dan ambil kira keselamatan kenderaan. Okay, kita tengok okay, fair enough kan. Dan banyak-banyak lagi. Semak keperluan OKU, keperluan railing, kaki lima, kita banyaklah kita cakap tak payah. Yang ni kalau boleh kita nak kecualikan lah. Macam letak arah kiblat dekat hotel kan. So because kalau hotel, kalau dia 4 star, 4 star atau 3 star and above, dia dah kena ada kiblat. Which is you don't have to impose. Hotel tu akan buat sendiri later on. Dia akan buat start ni. So which is redundant lah komplain tu. Dia punya ni. So we managed to set a meeting dengan local authorities, dengan YDP. Of course ada dengan paksaan daripada CEO kan. So but the fire back to us lah during the meeting tu. Kenapa arkitek ni, kenapa you suruh orang ni call I, Datuk ni call I macam ni kan. You not responsible, you responsible lah kan. Ya, kita memang akan responsible lah for the project. So kita cakap kita akan bermaklum dan kita akan take actions and such. So in our take for this one, kita faham yang we saw that there are PBT yang trying to take opportunity yang during CC ni untuk imposekan apa yang dia rasa ini, which is dengan dia cakap alasan dia nanti orang akan kejar dia kalau dia apa-apa kan. Maybe, right. Tapi you should always come back to the one who signing or taking responsible for it lah. Right. And then some comment were not related to CC, and then we have to involve the client lah. For this is government project, so we involve client, then it got spike from there lah. And then we have to explain to them that certain comments are not really relevant, which is very hard to do kan. Bila kita explain balik kenapa this one not relevant, cakap this habis tu bila you nak bayar, macam premium something like that kan, cukai, bila you nak bayar, cakap but then you cannot impose another set of act to another set of act for approval ni kan. Your premium itu tu under different legislation, so this one is different. This is plan lulus, you have to impose whatever in the act lah, right? So yeah, it takes some time, but alhamdulillah we managed to get our CC. So let's share kenapa kita takut sangat nak complain, right? Susah nak complain dekat local authority kan. So for me lah baru cakap saya nak beradu, dah kena tampar dah. Takut BP reject kan, takut lost file hilang, more comments and tougher to get approval for next project kan. Betul tak? But semua ni kami lalulah actually. And we did a lot of complaint and then macam when I write on Facebook juga kadang-kadang ada memang kita tahu PBT serta PBT tu macam lebih tough on us lah. But tak apalah, we face it, right? But then tuan-tuan, this is about time ya, dengan support daripada LAM dan PAM dan council member, then it's about time to strike back. Tak ada. Alright, so by that I end my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Architect Azizul Azwa. Moving on to our last speaker for the day. He is the principal at Veritas Architects Sdn Bhd, Johor. He is experienced in wide range of building projects from the low-rise and super high-rise, residential projects to offices, commercial, mixed-use developments, and as well as hospitality projects. He believes in his strength lies in the planning, conceptualization, and design of complex programs whilst achieving the efficiency and quality of spaces. He is also passionate about resiliency and sustainable design. Although he is born and raised in Sarawak, he has been based in Johor since 2006. So please welcome Architect Anthony Lau.
Okay, salam sejahtera and very good afternoon to all. Okay, I think I'm the only one not from KL, Selangor. So I'm presenting on Johor, so I call it Johor edition. But of course, Bangsar Johor, we call it the Johor way lah. Okay, then my presentation will be a bit different. I'm not going towards case by case basis, but it's more in terms of a general sharing based on all my projects in Johor. So as you all might not know, some might know. So Johor, I think we are the biggest. We state with 16 local councils, and we have 3 Majlis Bandaraya, and the rest Pembandara and Daerah. So we are lucky enough. We have experiences with about 8 local councils in Johor, but mainly, of course, concentrated in MBJB, MBIP, MBPG, Pasir Gudang. So they promoted to Bandar Raya, and also Kulai. I think they are targeting to promote to Bandar Raya also soon. Okay. So for Johor, nothing space rocket. We are the same. We have to go through local councils. We have to go through technical agencies. I think our problem are also the same with all the problems in Selangor, in elsewhere. But thankfully, we don't have smart deaf. we don't have all those, I don't know, hinky, wanky, panky, little Napoleons. Probably part of it is thanks to the 2 non-statutory, I call it stakeholders for Johor. So in a way, they facilitate. So the first I would like to talk about is Invest Johor. So Invest Johor, in a way, they are not the approving councils. They are not. They don't have any statutory right to approve or reject anything, and not even comment. But in a way, they are a very good facilitator, because one of the experience is when I'm doing a due diligence report for data center. So back then, there's no guideline yet on data center. So the only guideline that we have is from MBJB, and that guideline is data center must be developed on industrial land. And but this site is not in MBJB, so it's elsewhere. Then without the guideline, so we try to convince the local council that that the client can use this land to develop the data center. But we have tried a lot of efforts. We even bring in precedent studies from Cyberjaya or etc. It can be done on commercial land. But still, local councils' feedback is there's no precedent in Johor, and they are not willing to be the first to do that. But to my surprise, when a client shared with us this letter from Invest Johor, saying that okay, this is a FDI, so this is a very critical investment. So and local council is to support this submission and this client in a way lah. Okay, I'm not going to show the letter, but then from there, the local council directly tell us, oh, okay, you can submit based on commercial title now. So it's in a way, it makes us look a bit dumb to the client, because we have been explaining to the client, oh, cannot, local council feedback with this, such as such as such. But then with a letter, simple letter only from Invest Johor, then that's it, they allow it. So there's good and bad. And another, I call it facilitator, is also sort of ERDA. So ERDA we did, I mean, we have a infra project, thing, BRT. Now I'm not sure what it will become, probably ART or LRT or something. So when we did BRT, the submission is facilitated by ERDA. So in a way, you can see later, I will show, our timeline of approval and endorsement is very fast. Everything actually from submission until endorsement only takes 2 months plus a bit. So that is what a facilitator, so-called state facilitator, contributes to the project. And of course, back to Invest Johor. So another good thing about them is that the initiation of Johor Fast Lane, Johor Fast Lane is for MBJP. Other councils, they have a different name. But anyway, the concept is same. So because of Invest Johor very aggressively bringing in FDIs to Johor, so that's why we have this so-called Johor Fast Lane initiated by the local councils. I will talk more about that later. Okay, then another last one. This one is not really facilitator, but just a sharing. So there are some concerns in Johor when we are dealing with development. This is not, if you can see within 5 km radius, this is not a written rule. This is not an official statement or whatsoever, but it's a so-called hidden rule of thumb or hidden culture that even local councils, when we do submission, when we do proposal, local councils will advise us, please get comment from Pejabat Istana. So this is one of the, it's not good, it's not bad, but it's just a precaution that if you have clients trying to do developments in Johor, you might need to take note of this. And if it's within, some might say 5 km, some might say 10 km, but if it's the palace or even in Muar also, if you are near to the old palace, which in fact now I think is still active actually in Muar. So you have to take note of all this lah. Okay, so Johor Fast Lane, the process is actually the same. It's just that how they facilitated certain parts of it. For example, you can see in P3, notification of Mula Kerja Binaan. So in a way, usually we can only submit Borang B upon endorsement, which is the chop sign drawings. But now in a way, once they approve it, you can already submit this Mula Kerja Awal while pending the chop sign and meeting or whatsoever. As long as there is this approval letter, then you can start work. Submit this Borang B and start work. And another thing is, but this Johor Fast Lane is only for commercial and industrial, single building. So not applicable for multiple buildings like terrace house or whatsoever. So for this kind of building, because commercial and industrial, it also relates back to their operating license. So this, in a way, Johor Fast Lane, they initiated it in a way, you get your CCC, you also get your operating license. So this is how they cut short the time for the investors. And in fact, this is what is happening. Yep. Okay, so this one just a simple sharing. So I've selected a few projects from my office. So as you can see, I purposely divided it in terms of approval, the timeline to get the surat approval, and also the timeline after I get the surat approval, how long do I take further to get the chop sign endorsement. So as you can see, in fact, surprisingly, alteration and addition, ubahan tambahan, in overall takes the longest time. I have a project which takes me almost 2 years, 20 months, just for ubahan tambahan. But of course, I'm not blaming, it's not due to Little Napoleon, but it's because of manpower, shortage of manpower, which I do understand. Because for this particular majlis, they only have one person in charge of all the AA, upahan tapahan, temporary permit, whatsoever, all the small scale submission, only one person in charge. So you can understand the workload that he or she has. And for other, so as you can see, special, in fact, if from our data, almost all the approvers are actually within their so-called targeted timeline, less than 2 months. The red line is a bit wrong. It should be lower down. Okay, what takes the more time is in terms of the endorsement. So after approval, to comply with all the ulasan, blah 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 or whatsoever, sometimes there's no pindaan pelan pun. There's no there's the ulasan is not even about the drawings. It's about compliance. They need to pay ISF or they need to pay this penalty. They need to ensure that this submission, local submission is done or whatsoever. There's no really pindaan pelan. I mean, if we look at it case by case basis, for example, I'm submitting a terrace house. So my terrace house drawings has no problem. There's no changes needed. But why the endorsement takes so long? Because to comply the syarat ulasan, which is not related to my drawings. It might be, sometimes it's related to the client's dealing promises with the authority. So that in a way, we might need to also tackle in terms of the client, how to explain to client, how to clarify to client, what is the importance of, what is the process of development. Because there are a lot of clients, they actually think that this submission thing is very easy. You just go to the officer, submit in, chop it, get it out, that's it. But it's not as easy as that. Okay, so I just want to highlight, if you can see the special infra, so that is the one that I mentioned just now, facilitated by ERDA. So 2 months, everything done. Then others are generally on in fact, in average, it took us about 8 to 10 months from submission to endorsement until we can submit Borang B lah, in a way. So it takes about 10 months compared to every time we tell our client 3 months or 6 months or whatsoever. But in actual fact, in average, almost all my projects takes 8 to 10 months to get the endorsement. So, okay, that's on the bit on data. Okay, so challenges, I think almost the same. First challenge, very common challenge, is the officer that we are dealing. The frontier officer, they will always tell us, I'm just doing my job. So whatever it is, I follow my checklist. That's it. So anything you want to query or you want to minta waiver or you want to whatsoever flexibility that you want to request, you can talk to my boss, which we did. And in fact, it's working well so far. So whenever we have any problems that the frontliners, they couldn't make decision, we talk nicely to him or her, so that to allow us to deal directly with the Ketua Jabatan. So that's how we treat our projects. And in fact, well, when we talk nicely, in fact, the frontliners, they don't mind, they are okay. So that is one. Next, lack of appropriate knowledge and manpower. So manpower, this one is staffing issue. Of course, it's not really to blame local councils. I mean, their staffing, I mean, they cannot control their staffing anyway. So next is on terms of knowledge, appropriate knowledge. So again, we need more professionals in local councils. So lately, these few years, things in Johor are improving. So we start to have Part 2 architects, Part 3 architects, but those are particularly in Jabatan Bangunan, Building Department or Kejuruteraan, but not OSC. OSC are still mainly on how do I call it, on a diploma or diploma standard or some of them they might have degree, but it's on like construction management or some not really related to architecture or engineering degree. So that's what I think probably during the intake of government servant, probably the government can look into it. And third, consultants are still required to follow up. I think this one, Dato' Ejuni also mentioned this morning. So we are still required to follow up directly. So the most critical one is bomba. So almost all my project, I have to follow up bomba myself. And lastly, client's attitude. So why do I bring in client here? So because in my opinion, the problem doesn't only lies with authority and consultant. I think clients should also play a part in their way of setting their work program, their timeline. Because a lot of times, clients are giving unrealistic deadlines. Sometimes because of their own KPI. So they are pushing a consultant, I must get this submission next week. So even online submission also I don't care. So you quickly put in online submission. I want to secure my KPI. So in a way, we as consultant, we need to explain online submission is one thing, but that doesn't mean it's a proper submission or whatsoever. Sometimes clients, they don't understand. They think now there's an online submission, so you just submit, print out the screenshot, and that's it. I can submit my report KPI. So that's a problem also in terms of client. Okay, so lastly, opportunities. First, I think integrity. Before we menuding jari, we look at ourselves first. So we as PSP, do we uphold our liabilities and responsibilities as the PSP, as the principal submitting person? So do we explain clear enough to clients that what is the bylaws, what are the bylaws, what are the proper submission process? Because I also have one so-called pemutehan project. So the client was wrongly advised by the previous architect that he doesn't need to submit. If the local councils find out, you just pay penalty lah. You just give the officer something, okay, then settle. So to me, I don't want to say who, but to me that's a very irresponsible architect. So that's one. So second, competency. So as I mentioned just now, more professionals in government sector. So things are improving. So of course, I hope to see more, even more and more. So if you are board of consultancy, please join government. And digitalization. So this one, how do we benefit from AI? So because I'm in Johor, so we are always in envy of Singapore. So how Singapore can, in fact, I think they have been doing paperless for, I don't know, more than 10 years ago. So how about us? So why do we still need double work, online submission, and then paper submission again, then even after the paper submission, paper submission again, then they go all the tampalan or what, so scratching, all those things, coloring, all those things. So that's something to ponder about. So how can we really work on this digitalization? I mean, we are in 2024, soon 2030. Wawasan 2020 already passed a few years back. So why are we still in the paper age? Okay, so lastly, collaborations. Consultants and government stakeholders should be on the same side. So to me, I don't blame authorities. To me, we consultants and authorities, we should be on the same side, because both of us, we are safeguarding the public's interests and the public's safety. So we should be on the same line instead to ensure that all the developments are in accordance to bylaws, are in accordance to what it should be. So just one example in Johor, so we are very thanks to AR Farid. I don't think he's here. So AR Farid, PAMCO chairman. So PAMCO, he initiated a so-called memorandum of understanding, a network between developers, local councils, architects, IEM, engineers, surveyors, and others, etc. So we call it DECO Plus, DECCO Plus. So this is a network where all of us, all the parties in development, they have a direct network, meaning, but so far currently only four local councils, MBJB, MBIP, Pasir Gudang, and Kulai. So only these four. So in this network, regardless of PAMCO or IEM Johor, so we have direct connection to YDP of these four local councils. So whenever we have any problem or any serious issue or suggestion or whatsoever, we directly channel to these four YDPs. So that is what I think I'm not sure whether Selangor can do that or KL can do that, but that's just an example for Johor. So I think that's all from me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Architect Anthony Lau. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us throughout the day. Hopefully, with all the experience shared with us today will be beneficial for us and gain more understanding regarding OSC and its process. Okay, let's proceed with our Q&A for the afternoon session. I would like to invite our speakers again, Architect Azwar and Architect Anthony, to be back on stage. And also, I would like to welcome back our moderator, Architect Hazwan, to take over the stage. Thank you.
Testing. Test 1, 2, 3. Clear. Ready. Speakers, all the panelists ready. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Hello? Okay.
Architect Anthony, are you okay? Comfortable? Okay, thank you, Mr. MC. And good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our OSC talk for this evening. I hope you are ready to dive deeper again into today's discussion. So everyone okay? Masih okay untuk teruskan pada petang ni? So in these sessions, we'll explore the OSC system further, focusing on its challenges, opportunities, and ways to enhance its effectiveness in Malaysia's development process. We are joined today this evening by Architect Azizul Azwar, my friends also, Principal of Azizul Azwar Architect. He has worked extensively with local authorities across nearly every state in Peninsular Malaysia. So kita pun dah dengar dia punya case by case di PBT yang ada kan. Dan today also we have Architect Anthony Lau, Associate Architect at Veritas Architects, quite good sharing info, planning submissions di Johor. So a new process, I think tak semua orang dapat melalui proses tersebut kan. Kebanyakan kita submission di Lembah Kelang lah. So for this evening, I think same thing. We will conduct these sessions. I think 1 or 2 questions we'll ask to the floor as a warm-up question before we open the questions to the floor. And feel free to engage and ask questions and share your perspective. Might be from the morning session panelists, maybe would like also to give input, still can. Yeah, welcome, most welcome. So hopefully we can get something lah for these sessions. So without further ado, let's get started with our first speaker, Architect Azizul Azwar. So the first question, Architect Azizul Azwar, actually he already shared practical insights and strategies to help the audience effectively manage similar situation when dealing with local authorities. Ya, sebagaimana yang kita tahu, tadi ada pelbagai isu yang dikongsikan oleh Arkitek Azizul Azwar. So, in term of, are there any mechanism to track and report irregularities or unethical behavior in OSC approval? What is your advice if this happen? Just now you mentioned about unit integrity. So, actually, is there any other options? And what is your advice on that matter if happen to other consultants?
Yeah. Actually, I think the morning session sama ada Nita ataupun Nicole kan bagi tahu about CISPA. I think Nicole kan. So actually in our case we also submitted our complaint to CISPA lah. And from what I heard from locality, betulkan kau salah, bila if there's a complaint through CISPA, macam bergegar majlis tu kan. It's like a very serious platform lah, right? It just not go to directly to local council, but it also go to the KPAT if I'm mistaken. So there's a record there. So I think CISPA is a more powerful tools. Depend on how further do you want to take the actions to the person ataupun those yang wrong you in such way that you think that you should get correct treatment lah in dealing with authorities. So I think that's ni lah.
One of the approach CISPA, as our colleagues mentioned just now. So beside that, you know that one of the issues is about misconduct. I think PBT also we against of misconduct activities. So what do you think? What can be the approach for the OSC to resolve conflicts or disputes between architects, consultants and local authorities? Do you have any tips?
Actually, macam apa ni Anthony bagi tahu tadi. Actually, local council actually is supposed to be our partner lah. We are trying to protect the public. Their interests also protect the public, and of course, we want to safeguard the public as well. So basically, how we achieve that should be synchronized. It's not that you are doing wrong and then you have to highlight it, you're doing wrong. It's supposed to be like the comment or sharing it should be to directions where we can improve whatever that we want to achieve in our development or projects lah.
Okay, in regards to the misconduct or wrongdoings of behavior, might be we can report to our unit integrity. Maybe we can hear some thoughts from MBSJ. Do you have anything about unit integrities?
Okay, hi again. Okay, regarding the talk by Architect Azizul, right? Unit integrity. How many of you heard about unit integrity? Ada kan? So memang ada. So actually all local council they have unit integrity. So actually local council ni dia lagi very strict in terms of integrity. But the perception out there is that tak kan? I think tak ada lah. So basically in MBSJ, I actually sits in not the integrity. Integrity is the staff. We have the head of integrity. I show you the departments. There is one unit, integrity. But I actually sits in the disciplinary body of the majlis. So there are only 4 people inside the board. The mayor, deputy mayor, councillor, seorang je councillor. And the councillor chosen by the mayor. Satu lagi is HR. Okay, the unit integrity, upon receiving the complaints from the public, you will table a paper and they will sit actually, if there's a lot of complaints, once or twice a month lah, ataupun kalau tak banyak, every 2 months ada satu. So what we do in this integrity meeting, is actually the head will actually present the case, and we will look into the prima facie of it. Ada prima facie tu. Dia bukan senang-senang nak ni. Because local councils, they have a lot of these rules and regulations, and the legal implications of it is very high. There is one case where PJ, there was an they were saying about the misconduct of the head of department. Tau. So apparently he was terminated, and he bring it to court, and finally at the end of the court session, he won. PJ lost. So during this meeting, the cases are brought lah. So dia akan bentang lah, all yang macam you lapor tadi kan, dia akan bentang. So in fact kita akan check, and then dia akan integrity akan present what have they done to check on the matter, what are the steps. Dia akan panggil that guy or girl. Integrity akan panggil, dia akan present all the ni. So integrity will at the end of the paper syorkan, pengesyoran. So pengesyoran itu memang ikut undang-undang ni lah. Satu amaran. Satu amaran dengan implikasi. Satu buang kerja, satu terus buang kerja dan amaran keras lagi kan. So kita it all depends on the mayor as well. So kita pun akan dapat some information daripada pengadu, dan semua itu memang proses memang telus. Dan in fact I can tell you during my times as one of the members of the disciplinary board, pernah kita terminate. In fact, I tak realise masa tu when my staff said, bos, itu kan yang officer tu kan dah tak ada kat MBSJ. Oh, ke? Siapa nama dia? Because his name was very unique tau, I tak perasan. In fact, the termination masa tu I yang chair, I dengan Datuk Bandar yang sign lah. I tak perasan. Tapi memang betul. Because my staff experience it, tapi my staff tak complain. Other consultants complain. So we can also see that, public servant kan, gaji berapa kan, tapi bawa, saya arkitek pun kereta tak adalah semewah dia kan. Kerja staff Jabatan Bangunan, tapi bukan yang higher ranking kan. So itu pun akan trigger integrity. So integrity ni memang kerja dia itulah, kerja dia. Public complaints, that's why kita mengalu-alukan. We welcome all these complaint, and betul CISPA, in fact all local councils they have their own system of receiving complaints. Tapi when KPKT decided on one CISPA, memang CISPA is now that we are using lah. So CISPA tu because it's the complaint straight to the KPKT, to our father kan. So dia sampai sana bergegar lah bawah ni kan. So it's good to complain to CISPA. Tapi biasanya macam residents and consultant dia suka complain kat councillor. Councillor bawa direct kan. Tapi I cakap okay, boleh complain to me, but then CISPA. Sebab CISPA tu nanti selagi dia tak clear the aduan, it will be dengan KPKT. So KPKT will chase us. Yeah? Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you Architect Cam for the sharing input this evening. So I think my colleague friends, don't afraid if you are facing the misconduct or unethical behavior, so you may lodge report to CISPA and also might report to the unit integrity.
Your name will not be
Disposed. Okay, then we move to the architect Anthony Lau. So Anthony is experienced in a wide range of building projects, from the low-rise and super high-rise residential projects to offices, commercial, mixed-use development, as well as another hospital projects. So in terms of that, from your presentation just now, you mentioned about digitalizations. Are there plans to implement AI or data analytics to predict and prevent project delays at the OSC level? What do you think? digitalization? Should we impose AI or?
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Because I mean, AI or not, to me, I don't understand why there's a need to first submit online, then go through a process, then only submit hard copy again, then check again, then only starts the so-called arrangement for meeting. So why can't we just have one submission time, which is, I mean, yes, we can do the online submission or whatsoever. So when we are submitting the hard copy, the officer can just access on directly online on the spot to check whether you have uploaded all the hard copies that you have submitted. Then that's it. Why do we need double work? So that, but of course, I understand in terms of budget, in terms of hardware, software, because we sometimes we do chit chat with them lah. They also mention in terms of hardware. I mean, not only in terms of funding, but also in terms of sometimes they don't have sufficient technician to maintain the system, especially when there's troubleshooting. So they don't have anyone to maintain. Except those bigger majlis bandara, yeah, they might have. But the smaller ones, they don't have. Even they have this new system, they don't have any operator or any trouble technician to maintain. So that's the problem that I see lah. But of course, I'm not sure whether KPKT or the local office, the local councils can come up with some system or network. Because online storage also another problem. So I mean, currently they are headed because of physical storage. But if we are to transform into online storage, online submission only, online storage also another problem. So Singapore URA, they have a huge data center for themselves. So can we have that? Data center for local authority, for KPKT? I don't know.
I think the infrastructure is not ready yet.
If I may add,
Sure.
I used to have a vision where everything can be done by using AI. How it works is everyone's using the same platform or same software to create the drawings and upload in what we call it iSolution, for example. So when you upload the drawings, they read to specific local authority requirements. You upload your drawings there, and then based on the requirements for that particular area or local authority, and they come up with the comment AI generated. So it will come out, okay, you have like 50 non-compliance, for example, and then you have to amend your drawing and everything, and then you upload again until it's completed, and then you come up with a report submitted local authority saying that, okay, this one have been checked and verified by iSolutions and it's complied. So it would be really interesting to see that. We try to develop that, we have a setback where it's really hard to do because to read a model, to read drawings, it has to be like a component. It has to be in Revit. It cannot be in AutoCAD because it's 2D line. It doesn't read lines. You have to read model component. So we try to do that. We have a setback. I think tak apalah kita put it under the floor dulu lah. Nanti if the times come, then maybe we have to look at. But that is really good approach. But we have to enforce. All architects have to use 3D models, and we have to create a component out of it. But we solve a lot of problems. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the input. Just one question, maybe against to Architect Anthony Lau. So you are already based in Johor. So how does Malaysia's OSCs compare with similar system in neighboring countries like Singapore? So how do you think? Do you have any comparison to that?
I never experienced myself, but just from my friends, my architect friends in Singapore. So I mean, eventually all the submissions they submit to URA Singapore. So I guess that's their OSC. But similar, they also have a lot of departments. and they sort of they need to deal with all the departments as well. But the different thing is there's no so-called hard copy submission. They submit their BIM model, upload it up, then submit. So whatever, so there's no such problem as font terlalu kecil or missing E, missing A, missing whatsoever, or you need to reprint or this one signature tak cantik or whatsoever, this one smudge a bit or something. So there's no such ridiculous thing lah. But their problem is more realistic problems, such as maybe some design problem or setbacks and etc. So that I think hopefully we can also move towards that in terms of digitalization, and I mean we are also pushing BIM. So in a way, if we can utilize BIM, so so if authority they can also understand BIM and use BIM, so I think it can save a lot of time of everyone.
I think one of the issues for the PBTs is they don't have the data server or what we call a cloud system, cloud storage what we mean untuk menyimpan semua database tu. So instead of that, one of the interesting based on your punya presentation, Architect Anthony Lau, is about in Johor there's two non-statutory body, which is just now you mentioned IRDA and Pejabat Istana. So are there instances where clients or developers instruct architect to attempt or bypass proper procedures, and how such cases, if happen, how you handle it?
Yes, of course. Client, as usual, they will find wherever gray area that they can. So, but it's not in terms of the Pejabat Istana and IRDA and whatsoever lah. So, but their way of finding loopholes is more in terms of dealing directly with the officer, which we don't really encourage. So whenever client mention about that, I will say we are not going to do it. So if you want to do it, it's on your own responsibility.
I just do my job like you say.
I do my job, but I advise you not to do it. But of course, I cannot control you. So if you want to do it, that's your responsibility. But from the standpoint of professional, so I have my duty towards public. So I cannot do the so-called things whatsoever that you request. Oh, sorry, just to mention. So those that I mentioned on IRDA and Invest Johor, they are not really how to say, they are not a so-called body in terms of approving or development submitters. So they are just like a facilitator, because they don't have so-called statutory right to interfere in anything in the local councils. But what they comment, because they have some special treatment in a way. So whenever there is involvement from these parties, so usually the local councils, they will be more alert, and sort of the procedure still follows. It's just that they will cut queue for you. So that's how they speed up the process lah. But the process still follows the same. You still need to get approval for this. You still need to submit all the checklist and whatsoever. Follow the checklist. Everything is the same. It's just that they cut short the time. They arrange it. They push further, cut queue for you, because as you all know, they have they have hundreds of queue for each OSC meeting, even prior OSC meeting. So the only way that can be fast is cut queue. So that's what they do. But it's not cutting short in terms of process or statutory.
Facilitate the process to make sure that the project to execute on site very soon.
Yes.
So one of the issues I mean raised up, do you can clarify lah? There's no interference by the anybody's or from the royal side from. That's why
Yes,
there's no
they don't,
interference lah.
they cannot interfere. In fact, I mean, there are some, I won't call it interfere, there are some comments from royal, I mean, my own experience lah. So I did I mean, I did a super high rise. I think the whole so small, you know which one lah. There's only 2 super high rise. So eventually there is a letter from Pejabat Istana requesting, I mean not requesting, saying that my building height cannot overpass this meter. So certain height. But in the planning guideline, there's no such thing. There's no height. I mean there is height, but we follow the planning guideline. But there is this special letter saying that okay, your development cannot overshoot this height. So that is what something. I mean, it can be called interference, but I mean it happens before our endorsement. So in a way, it's not a so-called very painful comment lah, in a way. We still have time to change, and in fact, the client are fine also. I mean, we all respect.
Actually, the reason behind of this question, because not all people have the opportunities as you lah, for the submissions in Johor. So that's why it's good for you to sharing the info with us. So I think, is it okay if we open the floor for questions? So now we will open the questions to the floor. So anyone can share. Feel free to engage, ask questions, and share your perspective. So anyone to start for this evening sessions? Any question to ask to our panels in regards to maybe misconduct, wrongdoings, or unethical behavior, or digitalization from our architect Anthony? Yeah, Datuk.
I think just now Azizo mentioned about the AI. In Singapore, they started with Connect, okay, Connect system, where actually submissions are online. They started with PDF submission before BIM. Then they changed to BIM submission, where they have implemented Connect 1, Connect 2, and now Connect X, the latest one, where actually they implement, they program the rule set inside the system to self-check your BIM model compliance. And in Malaysia, we also have similar intention, I think NBES system, which is supported by CIDB, NBES system. But what Connect has done is very much, I mean, because they started since 20 years ago. Connect, the programmer, the operator is from Nova City, the same company who did the first online submission for Putranet. So they moved from Malaysia to Singapore. They are a Malaysian company, but they developed for Singapore because at that time, unfortunately, PPJ unable to support to renew the maintenance contracts. So after the system was completed, then probably their fee is very high, so they couldn't sustain. So they moved to Singapore. What I want to share is that CIDB NBES is a very good base, but there are 2 different budgets. Singapore spent more than 1 billion ringgit, which is I think about 350 million Sing dollar to get to that stage. And we are talking about only 2 million ringgit to get there. I have already highlighted, because this initiative was discussed together with MPC, KPKT, and also CIDB. Do not repeat the same mistake that Connect has gone through 20 years. In fact, Connect has come and shared what are their mistakes. Okay, it's very difficult to establish that because the rule set keep on changing. You cannot build the brain of the AI when you constantly change the rules act, okay, so then they end up investing a lot of money to the stage that even today it is not fully successful in Singapore. So they still have to do manual checking, but it facilitates by doing the BIM model submission instead of hard copy. To me, even if we cannot have the auto check system today, it will be very good already if the local authority can accept, even if not in BIM model, even in PDF. At least that is the first stage. Once the Singapore is ready, and then we will just copy them. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Dato'. I think that's the lesson that can Malaysia learn from the global practices to further improve our OSC framework, OSC process. So, second questions from the floors. Architect Arman, again.
Okay. Since nobody asked, okay, just the two things. One is the sharing, like what Architect Azizo is talking about. Berani sikit not to say no to a local authority when they ask benda ngarut. This is what happened to us a few years ago in Kedah, dealing with dekat Majlis Bandaraya Kota Star. So it's a KPKT housing project. So definitely KPKT housing project dah siap memang tak ada jual. So when the time that we wanted to submit deposit CCC, bangunan inform my staff that kita kena bayar for all the houses half year cukai pintu. Walaupun none of the unit been sold. So I said, oh, what kind of requirement is that? So I tak puas hati. The following week I pergi majlis and argue dengan bangunan. Dia kata, oh ni memang dah kita tak lulus dalam kita punya mesyuarat. Okay, you bagi saya surat mengatakan you nak, I will bring this surat pergi complain dengan lembaga. Because dalam akta tak pernah kata, oh cakap kerana kita punya hasil sentiasa tak tahu which project dah siap. Kata itu you punya problem lah, dengan saya buat apa. So end up mereka let go with that issue and allowing us to deposit CCC. So I think one of the thing is just to share. Sometimes we just need to be berani to stand firm with what exactly it is. So second is one to both Architect Aziza and also Anthony. Anthony was talking about how effective of Invest Johor play the role as a facilitator on all the FDI project. Architect Aziza, you have been go everywhere and almost every single state ada invest company. Kita ada invest KL, invest Selangor, invest Melaka, everywhere. But it doesn't seem these states punya invest is acting as active like what happened in Johor. Maybe both of you can share if there is, because although we have encountered some project, walaupun ada this kind of company together, it doesn't play much role. So maybe you can share a bit on if let's say there's some experience on this, and how, if let's say on the other hand is, kenapa nak ada some these external forces baru proses boleh jalan cepat. So that is also another question going to pose it to maybe to ponder. Tak boleh ke just every single project just go through the same kind of speed and spirit, semua nak project approval cepat. If let's say every project can have the same spirit, I think everybody will happy. Okay, thank you.
Okay, who wants to start with the questions?
Yeah, let me share a bit. We have a few factories we did. A few in Melaka. We have one of recent currently doing in Seremban, Rembau, involving Invest, and we just completed one in Penang. So basically, our experience with Invest quite smooth lah actually. Dia tak banyak complain or comment. They just want to know what are the development, how we benefit the local area, things like that, and what size. So And then normally they support us in terms of like if there's a comment from other local Jalan ke apa semua kan. So they will support us. For example, one we have in Rembau, we're doing EV factories. The first EV factory in Malaysia lah. So it's quite a new place. Dia buat tu kat Rembau, tak ada TMB connections. The one closer is about 2 km, which costs us like few million for that infra, which is definitely TMB takkan buat lah, kan. Projek nak kena siap this year, kan. Kalau tak, kita tak boleh buat. So invest, push the local government and then the MBs to make sure that there's a supply enough for our projects. Kalau tak, kalau siap kilang tu tak ada elektrik nak operate. So invest really helps us in that sense lah. So that's why I think invest did there's a function of invest in terms of keterjaminan business in that sense. Right? We really appreciate invest lah. So but I'm not sure how invest can help other project beside factories kan. So I nampak that's how they were formed, or maybe that's how objective for the invest lah.
How about Anthony? A word on that?
In my point of view, so I'm not sure how other states invest works, but I believe should be the same. So as I said, they have no statutory power. But why is Invest Johor in a way that they are more effective? My personal opinion, probably because it's directly under MB Johor's sort of portfolio to bring in FDIs. And one thing about Johor is we all respect our lawyers. So in a way, MB is very close to lawyers lah. So which brings towards we also respect MB Johor in a way. So I suspect probably that's why. So even local councils, they also respect whenever MB Johor requested for something to be expedited. But of course, that all the local councils, they have their own timeline to follow as well. They cannot be implementing it on every project. So only certain very critical FDIs. They can only they can do that. So as I mentioned just now, especially the bigger majlis bandaraya, they have over hundreds files to process every month. So how are they going to arrange everything accordingly and make sure that they follow their KPI of 57 days, so if they are to allow every project to do the same, then I think even 24 hours not enough for them, and with their limited manpower, so that's another problem. So of course, I think what other states probably I don't know, maybe other states investment body, they can be more linked up with the state government probably, and also to push towards and have more conversation, because in a way our state government has a lot of conversation with local councils, so probably other states that can do the same as well.
Okay, thank you for your input or for your sharing on the investments. So do that the explanation answer your questions, Mr. Arman? Okay. So any from the floors in related to this evening sessions? May if ada question to ask. Architect Zaini.
Mungkin ini nak tanya Arkitek Kamarul dengan Datuk Azumi lah kot, you all yang paling dekat dengan the higher level of the system. Saya rasa the underlying issue, saya dengar yang petang pun pagi pun sama lah kot, masalah banyak OSC ni. Yeah.
untuk generasi kami yang melalui CF dulu and then berhijrah ke OSC, dengan harapan benda tu jadi lebih baik, tapi nampak gayanya mungkin tak kesampaian lagi. So nak tanya, kalau ada, okeylah kita adalah inisiatif kecil kami ni macam ni, bincang-bincang mana problemnya kan. Tapi kalau we are going forward towards a more concrete and hoping things will change, revert ke balik ke objektif asal ke apa boleh dibuat lah. Katalah ada few of us in PAM really want to face this head on lah. Make it our final thing to do before we retire or something. Yeah, how, and can you give us a little guide? How can we address this, kan?
Maybe who wants to start, Dato or Architect Camp?
Okay, thank you, Architect Zaini. I think it's a very valid question. In fact, this morning I touched a little bit. So there was a lot of effort before by the focus group working together with JKT, MPC as the facilitator and also secretariat for Pemuda. Okay, but in some locality, because it is not just local authority. Locality means that the entire ecosystem, utility provider, support external agency. In some locality, we move one step forward, 3 steps backward. That's the issues. Like I mentioned earlier, many agency or even the internal department, they make improvement to the system. Okay, but the improvement to the system, improving the way they are doing work, but not facilitating the business, like I mentioned earlier. For example, like the compulsory getting process P1 to get the approval from all external agency before you can submit. I also mentioned that case in Selangor, for example, now that you have to submit a complete building plan just to get your fee calculated, then you get it's approved, then only you can submit your actual plan. So it means that you must have the building plan fully completed, submit, but not actual submission, just to get how much fee you have to pay. Then after that you have to pay, then only submit. So in the eyes of the local authority, this is improvement. Okay, in the eyes of technical agency, this is improvement because it makes the job easier. Okay, they make the job easier, and when it comes to the data and statistics, it takes shorter time. The one that I shared with you earlier, 23 days, the fastest, and the longest 113 days. And there is not earlier data. Because why? There are multiple submissions. Before it reaches to that is only calculated when the submission is considered completed. But the multiple submission for that take 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, which is not taken into that data system calculation. So it is not that it cannot be done. It can be done. But like I mentioned earlier, you really need somebody, the leader, with a clear vision that want to change something. Then only it can happen. It's proven what happened in Kuala before, E10. The YDP is actually take the driver's seat and change the system. That's why they can facilitate the process. So we need that caliber, okay, in the leadership, even in KPKT. YDP, yes, correct. So that's what happened previously when DBKL managed to improve. When you have one mayor, for example, before like Tan Sri Ahmad Fuad become the mayor, change the system, facilitate everything, make things efficient, faster, because they have certain objective. The pressure under the KSN at that time that we have to be top in the world. So they facilitate many things. For example, today in KL, one of the good initiatives that they still maintain until today that you don't have to submit for hoarding permit anymore. In KL, hoarding, signboard, you don't have to submit. But I did a landed housing in one of the PBT in Selangor. The hoarding permit charges is more than the building itself. The building is only 50,000 fee, processing fee, the permit is 103,000. Yeah, because it's landed, the holding area is very long, counted by the height and the length. So that's why it's very important that, so to have somebody, a good person at the driver's seat. Many initiative that we have tried, but when it comes to implementation, they have different views. For example, I want to be seen as the best local authority and the fastest local authority in the country, but not necessarily it is the actual implementation on the ground. So you can push everything outside the system. Okay, you must go to every local authority, get the approval letter and come. We only register after you get all the approval. So that's why it depends on if the honest driver driving the system, then you probably can give the good benefit to the entire industry and also the country. But if you just want to show good numbers, I showed the number before, but believe me, that number is not real. That number is only what entered to the OSC system. The outside OSC system, a lot more than that, many more days. So that's a thing. I think under the initiative of Pemuda, there are many things. I think Arman was together with me, Azizo also with me. A lot of initiatives has been done. Sometimes when the instruction or letter direction from the top, from the KSU of KPKT, from the KSN was issued, not all the initiatives adopted at the local authority level. Because the three-tier government, so some of them say that, I haven't received the instruction from YDP, I'm not going to implement this. So like the one that I mentioned, kelulusan dengan syarat pindaan plan. I don't see any of local authority in the state implement that. They still do it as usual. Lulus, bersyarat. And then the syarat, I just share with some of our colleagues here. I received approval, kelulusan dengan pindaan plan. So what is the syarat? Mesti mendapat kelulusan IWK, mesti mendapat kelulusan TMB. There is nothing syarat that you need to change in the plan, but they still doing it. But right, they just give lulus. It is not something that you need to amend the plan. So this issue of understanding that I think we have to go to the ground. There is a plan, okay, that by the KPKT to have this training session. I think earlier I shared about certification. Personally, I agree with the system, but I think the Board of Architect, Board of Engineer may not agree that we have another certification to allow you to submit. But local authorities say that if you do not have that certificate, you cannot submit plan. I don't think that we should do that. But if you say that if you have that certificate, you go through the submission training process, then probably you can have the fast lane. I think that is fair.
Okay, thank you, Dato'. Anything on that side?
I just maybe want to add on to what Architect Azumi said. It's just 10 cents thoughts from me. Back to what our mantan Perdana Menteri before, Pak La, CF to CCC. Due to what actually? To give somebody responsible to whatever happened. So who are the responsible person? The PSP, either the architects or the engineer, because engineer also, some of the project, they can be the PSP. And I just wonder, maybe because of that, because the responsibility is given to the architects, whatever happened, if anything happened to the building, towards the end of the day, in the paper, kalau ada architect, PBT akan cakap, oh, this architect yang keluarkan the CCC. Kalau tak ada architect, dia akan cakap lah, this project is tak ada submission, whatsoever. Okay, so I think along the way, because of that, that's why officers dalam PBT tak ramai. Because their work is not actually to check thoroughly what architect did. Because architects professionally already passed their Part 3 exam. So hard to pass the Part 3 exam and get the whole responsibility dekat atas ni until death, sign to sign mati, and yet our CCC yang kita nak keluarkan ni, it's actually been read through by the PBT, we sometimes ada additional pula dia punya requirement kat dalam tu. Not talking about the procedures tau, daripada awal sampai akhir. Daripada mula nak submit tu OSC and everything. And we recently, yang kita rasa macam alamak, agaknya this PBT ni gatal tangan kot nak buat design. Because they comment our design in a OSC punya process of approval. Kita kata macam, okay, if you want to comment on by law, logik. Kan? Tapi, our bilik meeting mesyuarat for 15 to 20 packs pun, dia comment, I kata, that particular space to get approval from the client, sometimes it's required one or two, several meetings, discussion. And ada satu projek kita, where we convert we upgrading the surau to masjid. The client actually want to change the surau to masjid actually, but Sultan tak bagi sebab there are another masjid very near to it. But because of the surau tu dah boleh buat masjid and the capacity dah bertambah, so the client want it to be bigger and the size tu dah look like masa masjid lah. But then bila Sultan tak bagi tukar, so it still remain as surau. So bila remain as surau, requirement dia dah berubah tau. You tak boleh simply, tangga tak boleh letak kat belakang anymore. Tangga you kena kat depan, saf tak boleh ubah. Macam lah complicated lah dia punya discussion between us and also the JAIS, Jabatan Agama Islam. And yet bila kita submit for OSC, dia comment, dia kata can you adjust this tangga, because I think this tangga ni tak membuatkan masjid you jadi very wow in terms of welcoming. I kata, oh my God, we have gone through this. Tapi kita cakap humble lah kan. Rasa macam bodoh lah sikit kat depan authority. Kita terpaksa macam berlagak bodoh sikit lah kan. Okay, so be humble lah sebenarnya. So kita kata okay, kita try to explain tapi dia tak berfaham. Dan kita nak explain pun sangat susah juga sebab it's involved of hukum tau. Hukum yang dah di-identified by JAIS. So bila dia rasa macam dia pun tak faham, dia pun pening kepala macam ni semua everything, dia kata okay lah. So we go for next because that one is actually dia masuk dalam syarat condition bersyarat kelulusan. So kita go through lah lagi satu. Maksudnya ada 5 atau 6 related to design. And one of the comment lagi satu is actually pintu masuk nak kepada bilik mesyuarat tadi tu yang disuruh kecilkan tu. Dia kata, why not? Instead of you masuk dari luar, why not you masuk daripada jemaah dalam? I kata, dalam hati I kan, I think dia ni nak kena jadi konsultan balik kot. Dia kata, because topi dia topi PBT sebenarnya. Alright? So, moral of story is, saya nak beritahu, yang I go back lah, bila kita fikir-fikir balik kan, kenapa CF jadi CCC? Reasonnya satu je sebenarnya, dia nak siapa yang dia nak pegang for the responsibility, itu je. But I think because along the way tu dia jadi konflik sebab maybe part of the authority tu mungkin bukan APSJ lah kot. Yang lain-lain mungkin rasa macam dia punya little Napoleon tu tergugat. So dia rasa macam tak boleh, kita kena do something. So then dia slowly dia jadilah. So but I terfikir I'm now 27 years involved in architecture. What happened another 27 years? When my daughter, insyaAllah kalau dia proceed with master and everything, jadi seorang arkitek, what will she experience? Adakah dia akan experience benda sama macam I? So kalau dia akan experience benda sama macam I, something wrong with us. Macam talking about integrity pun, I rasa waktu kita mula-mula muda-muda working dulu pun, benda tu dah ada dah. So bila I talk with my husband, I cakap, I think because of those young officers, they learn from the older officers yang not do an ethical work, and then they progressively, and now the youngest dah jadi older officers, they did the same thing. And in future, maybe they will follow the same. Itulah my thoughts.
Okay.
I question tadi dengan arkitek Anthony Lau. I'm interested on that, your punya yang, the column 7 tu, CCC plus permit. Is that for permit business? Business permit, is it?
CCC.
The operation on the 7.
Yes, under JFL, right?
Uh-huh.
That is where CCC and the operating license is issued together.
That one is permit business, is it? Is in layman, is business permit? or what?
Business permit, yes.
Oh, that's good because
Ah.
here, when you got the CCC, and the CCC will be attached together with the application,
Yes.
then will be another process of it.
That's
So
how they
Johor dah got
expedite
that. All right, that
but
goes.
it's not applicable for all.
Uh-huh.
It's only for certain projects under JFL.
Oh,
We need to
okay.
apply for this JFL scheme.
All right.
Ah.
Okay, at least I see.
Just to top up a bit on one's comment just now. So I think maybe, I don't know whether if we can issue our concerns to KPKT so that whatever comments related to design issued from PBT, they must enclose together with a bylaw, not just suka-suka. Because I mean, my own experience, I have 2 projects, problem with surau also. One is that PBT requested, because my original design is attached surau in the building. PBT requested for standalone surau. The size is exactly the same. Floor area same, everything same. But the PBT request, you pindah keluar, letak atas tanah, I want it to be standalone building. Which, there's no bylaw saying that surau must be standalone. So that's one. Then another is very funny personal request from the officer or this surau because because I have a rod in front of the surau. I mean arah kiblat lah. There's a rod crossing. There's no toilet or whatsoever. I've avoided all those, but there's a rod. I can't avoid that because it's a service rod. Then the personal request from the officer, ni tak boleh lah, nanti garbage shot lah whatsoever lah, lalu tak boleh. I mean, there's no parking. It's just a rod for the service to pass by. That also cannot. So I mean, so hopefully, I don't know if we can issue this concern to KPKT, whatever design related ulasan to have a bylaw to be attached together. If we are wrong in terms of bylaw, yes, of course we have to change the design lah. Like maybe the staircase depth or airwells depth and all those. That's fine, but not this kind of personal preference request.
I think we do agree that when we all of here and as an architect, that for example just now sharing talks on the CCC, it should be a self-regulatory basis. It's a matrix responsibility to all the consultants, I mean the PSP, Principal Submitting Person. So I think in that case also kita perlu juga I think kerjasama lah dengan pihak PBTs. They should do understand that their scope, their limitation of scope, kan, setakat mana yang dia boleh pergi. Tapi on my part, kita pun rasa yang kadang-kadang certain comments ataupun ulasan by PBT itu not technical issues, kan, yang beyond of yang sepatutnya lah. So yang itu yang saya rasa kita sebagai architects and sebagai consultants kita kena banyak lagi engagement, dan banyak engagement dengan YDPs, all the top guns dalam PBT. Seperti yang Datuk Izumi cakap lah, kita pun agree. So siapa yang driven the organisation or the majlis or the PBT or local council, local authorities, they must have a same vision with us. Kalau dia pun tak ada interest yang sama dengan kita takkan pergi ke mana lah. That's why I think the most important thing kita kena ni lah.
Kejap, that one I agree because we know sometimes because officer authority pun kita pun faham. Because dia lah AJK bola sepak, dia lah pergi main bola sepak, dia lah pergi training. Kita pun faham. Jadi what I want to try to say tadi tu is actually dah rules masing-masing, peranan masing-masing. So work together. Tak jadi masalah. Maksudnya everybody turunkan ego masing-masing and work together. I think better future kita boleh dapat pun.
Betul. Kita agree. One of the issues satu lagi kita nampak adalah lacking of competency. Lacking of competency among staffing dekat PBTs ataupun local councils. Yang mana kita tengok kadang professional architects, professional town planner, professional engineers, most of that banyakkannya di federal, macam di JKR. Tak banyak pun yang ada di local council, di PBT kan. That one I think kita pun maybe ada course ataupun yang kita boleh highlight kepada PBTs. That's the requirement for competency is the most important thing supaya diorang at the same page. Okay, I think we come to the end of today's sessions.
I just
Ahmad.
nak share satu insiden
Ada lagi?
sekarang je. Okay. Just echo apa yang Datuk Izumi cakap just now. I think the local authority, the head, which is the YDP Datuk Bandar, is really a driver. Recently, I was engaged by MPC to facilitate one project dekat Majlis Perbandaran Temerloh. YDP sendiri concern because KM ulasan dah keluar lama, tapi consultant no action. So the YDP yang call MPC kata boleh tolong facilitate project tak? So went in, one of the again just echo also sometimes the utilities provider is also very strange. Pengurusan air Pahang pipe boleh bagi ulasan saya tidak sokong projek ini kerana kita tak ada air. Memang dalam written ulasan. So during the whole thing, so the MPC contacted the CEO, so everything resolved. But at the end, question will be how many drivers that actually we need in every single authority, every single PPT to make sure the entire whole Malaysia is driving towards what we wanted, like what Architect Zaini is mentioned. But I think it's a bit tiring. Perhaps if let's say PAM can also compile all these comments, feedback to KPKT, let's make it to the automated thing so that everybody will have the same spirit. I think that would be great.
Okay, thank you for your input. As we come to the end, before that, I think dekat audience kita ni pun ada salah seorang pengarah daripada dulunya Jabatan Bangunan, sekarang pengarah bahagian pengurusan projek. Maybe last word, tips untuk dealing with authorities, Encik Hafiz, on your sides.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kepada semua rakan-rakan arkitek, kepada Yang Bagi Datuk dan semua hadirin yang hadir pada hari ini. Saya memang nak last kali sebenarnya, tak nak semua ni. Pasal ni tips kan. Okey. Dealing with authority ni sebenarnya dia bukannya susah, senang. Tetapi kita ada pemahaman dan juga interaksi kita yang tak sebaiknya. Okey, kalau tengok dekat sini, saya ambil masa sikit Datuk kan. Objektif OSC ni dia berkenaan dia objektif, challenges dengan opportunities. Objektif seperti mana yang Datuk dah maklumkan pagi tadi sebenarnya untuk kita nak kurangkan red light, pemudahkan. Challenges kita, saya kena akui lah, walaupun sekarang ni, dulu saya dalam private sector, once saya dah masuk dekat government sector, saya pegang topi government sector lah. Challenges dia, saya kena akui, kaedah birokrasi. Setuju? Setuju kan? Memang itu. Kerana dulu masa saya dekat private sector, saya deal dengan authority, ada dua authority yang sampai sekarang saya ingat, dua-dua orang tu masih ada lagi dekat situ dan saya berjanji once saya masuk, saya bekerja sebagai wakil authority, saya takkan jadi macam mereka. Itu yang saya pegang sampai bila-bila, sampai sekarang sekalipun. Opportunities ni sebenarnya kita nak nampakkan penambahbaikan, kebaikan sebenarnya apa yang government dah berikan dekat sini. Okey, so saya nak kasih tips. Saya dah list sebenarnya, saya dengar satu-satu saya list. Nanti saya lupa, saya minta maaf ya. Okey. Alright. Okey. Ini sebenarnya seperti mana yang saya dah maklumkan tadi. Okey. Perbezaan requirement tu memang wujud. Semua tempat memang wujud pun. Tetapi apa kata kita jadikan perbezaan tu sebagai bukan satu isu yang besar ataupun bukan satu problem, tetapi kita meraihkan. Faham tak maksud saya? Saya nampak dalam kat sini Arkitek Anthony Lau nampak perbezaan tersebut tu sebagai satu benda yang kita boleh bersama dengan pihak PBT tersebut. Okey. Memang kita tak nafikan. Ramai orang, kalau 10 orang PBT, 10 orang idea kepala dia tak sama. Okey, mungkin cara saya facilitate lain. Arkitek Hazwan bersama dengan saya lain.
yang lain-lain di BKL, di Subang Jaya, di mana-mana sempat, semua tak sama pun dekat sini. Tetapi kita meraihkan ada kehendak tertentu kenapa sebenarnya kehendak-kehendak tersebut perlu diadakan di setiap PBT tersebut sebenarnya. Requirement itu. Okey. Cuma kita jangan jadikan benda ni sebagai satu yang fasih sangat. Satu yang benda-benda yang akan susahkan kita, seolah-olah kalau misalnya kita terpaksa ikut and then kita akan menyusahkan kita dan sehingga projek ini tak boleh buat. Okey. Next. Tak maaf. Okey. Ini dia. Yang saya dah tulis panjang lebar. Okey. Saya nampak dalam sesi ni sebenarnya dalam hati saya lah nampak macam sesi luar perasaan pun ada. Betul kan? Tapi ni channel ni sepatutnya panggil PBT, panggil orang-orang PBT sebenarnya. Yang mana yang tak puas hati tu, panggil. Itu yang sebaiknya. Seriously. Kalau kita kan tak berpuas hati dengan daripada pihak kami, daripada Perbadan Putrajaya, panggil wakil Perbadan Putrajaya. Jangan panggil Presiden. Pasal panggil Presiden memang akan dengar. Nanti saya akan cek dengan officer. Panggil dengan officer tersebut. Kenapa? Itu memang sebenarnya yang kita nak. Pasal kita nak selesaikan isu. Bukannya sebenarnya kita nak cari, nak tuding jadi kesalahan dan sebagainya. Okey. Saya kasih tips untuk nak jumpa pegawai PBT ni. Secara general, pertama sekali kena tahu keperluan dan kehendak. Ada beza tu keperluan dan kehendak. Keperluan dia sebenarnya keperluan dekat dalam bila you buat submission dekat situ, itu adalah keperluan requirement dalam building plan ke ataupun kehendak pegawai PBT itu sendiri. Ini memang boleh argue, tak boleh dinafikan. Ini adalah kehendak ataupun hak-hak daripada pihak PSP. Keduanya perlu tahu you deal dengan siapa. Kadang-kadang yang datang berjumpa dengan pegawai PBT ni, dianggap pegawai PBT ni sebenarnya dianggap yang frontliner. Kadang dia anggap frontliner, tapi kalau saya suka jumpa dengan orang tak perasan saya ni siapa, jadi saya deal sajalah dengan tu. And then yang jumpa ni kadang-kadang berbual, bersembang, kadang-kadang macam kawan-kawan saja tak apa, tapi kita boleh terima. Tetapi sebenarnya dalam masa yang sama pun bila nak berjumpa dengan pegawai PBT ni tak prepare. Langsung tak prepare, seolah-olah just sebagai ni Datuk. Dia sebagai macam runner je Datuk. Memang runner, tetapi kadang-kadang yang submit ni dia kata yang dia ni adalah design architect ataupun dia kadang adalah architect untuk this project, tetapi sebenarnya dia pun tak tahu sebenarnya dia nak terangkan apa pun. Bagi kami sebenarnya you datang ni nak buat apa, tu je. Ayat daripada saya macam tu. And then perlu tahu apa requirement dekat tempat tersebut. Tempat requirement dekat PBT ni memang berbeza. Saya tak nafikan pun. You submit dekat Subang Jaya memang lain. Kenapa? Requirement ni memang lain. Requirement Putrajaya dekat Subang Jaya ni maybe kawasan dia banyak industri dan sebagainya. Memang keperluan dia macam tu. Kalau you submit dekat Hulu Selangor lain dekat situ. Kenapa? Memang dia dibuat kat situ. Memang purposely masa dia submit buat untuk rancangan struktur dan rancangan tempatan memang berbeza. Memang dan you nak submit untuk building plan pun memang kena ikut kehendak tu. Kalau kat Putrajaya memang lain. Pasal memang dekat Putrajaya memang dia dah bandar terancang. Dia dah memang design for begitu. Jadi memang kehendak-kehendak tu memang berbeza dah. And then bila dah tahu dengan apa yang requirement dengan tempat-tempat tersebut, you buat. And then you buat submission kepada PBT. Soalan saya semasa saya tak lulus lagi Datuk untuk part 3, tetapi saya semasa saya ambil oral test daripada architecture shooting. Dia tanya saya satu soalan berkenaan, saya ada 100 ekar tanah, apa yang patut saya buat? Dia tanya saya soalan tu. Jawapan saya kasih jawapan macam layman. Okey, boleh tak saya kasih jawapan yang terus terang saja? Okey, silakan. Pertama sekali, saya tak akan buat design apa-apa, saya akan pergi ke tempat PBT tersebut. Kenapa saya nak tahu apa requirement sebenarnya kat situ? Saya tak nak buang masa. Pasal kalau saya design buat itu, buat ini macam-macam, and then dah buat master plan, klien dah setuju dah sebagainya, pergi ke PBT, fail, tak lulus. Saya buat macam tu, saya kata, betul lah, betul. Pasal setiap PBT, lain requirement dia. Saya kasih jawapan yang jawapan yang sincere. Begitu. Memang begitu pun sebenarnya dekat situ. Okey. Ya, pass. Saya lulus.
Oral pass.
Saya lulus. Tetapi itu hakikat je lah dekat situ. Okey. And then kehendak daripada semua orang bila berjumpa dengan PBT, please terimalah dengan hati yang terbuka. Terima hati yang terbuka maksudnya apa ulasan-ulasan tersebut. Okey. Seperti mana daripada arkitek Azwar kan, kita tak perlu pening kepala nak bergaduh dengan PBT pasal kami ahli-ahli PBT ni semua tak ada allow nak bergaduh. Seriously. Sebenarnya kami nak pergi kerja senyum pasal nak jumpa semua orang, nak jumpa semua wakil-wakil apa tu ni daripada konsultan semua datang nak hadir. Pasal you all nak minta bantuan daripada kami. Kami datang jumpa nak senyum, balik pun nak senyum. Kalau kami balik dengan muka masam, bergaduh-gaduh, ada masalah nanti rumah tangga nanti kat rumah. Serius Datuk, betul kan benda tu? Dan salah satu lagi sebenarnya, apa lagi? Kita nampak sangat dekat sini, kebanyakan yang jumpa, yang kami ni semua, seriously lah, terlalu belagak. Saya cakap terus terang saja dekat sini, ini adalah experience saya. Memperkenalkan diri masing-masing, kita buat projek berjuta-juta, projek besar, and then kami tahu requirement ni semua. Kami telah pernah involve dengan apa tu menteri-menteri dan sebagainya. Percayalah cakap saya, projek ni lah ada masalah. Tabu orang panggil. Kan? Projek ni ada masalah. Projek ni lah yang akan ada isu di kemudian hari nanti. Jadi please be humble. Kita sebenarnya, you datang nak jumpa kami, nak minta pandangan daripada kami, apa experience kami, apa yang pengetahuan kami di kawasan tersebut. Jadi kami memberi apa input tersebut kepada semua tanpa berselindung. Kerana itu sekiranya itu adalah kehendak, itu adalah requirementnya, itulah yang kami bagi tahu. Tapi sekiranya kamu tak berpuas hati ataupun sebenarnya ada pencanggahan terhadap beberapa perkara, you are allowed untuk membuat sebarang permohonan pindaan terhadap perkara tersebut. Itu memang boleh saja. Tak ada kata-kata, tak ada maklumkan, oh ini tak boleh. You kena patuh, you kena ikut juga. No, tidak. Semua benda boleh bincang. Jadi masalahnya sekarang ni dekat situ memang tak ada perbincangan Datuk. Okey. Seperti mana yang dimaklumkan oleh Datuk tadi, perlu ada checker tak? Pandangan saya, tak perlu ada checker untuk nak check plan ni semua. Kenapa? Kerana kita semua arkitek adalah orang kompeten, orang yang apa tu ni PSP. Dah kompeten dah. Kenapa kita perlu ada checker dekat sini? Tak perlu. Tapi yang paling penting, kita kena tahu berkenaan dengan requirement, berkenaan dengan bylaw, berkenaan dengan guidelines. Okey, kadang-kadang serta-serta PBT ni ada guidelines tertentu. Ini adalah untuk keperluan kat kawasan tersebut, Datuk. Adalah sebab dia kenapa. Tetapi bukannya kita perlu compulsory, kita kena ikut, tidak. Benda ni sebenarnya, benda ni boleh berbincang. Ada sebabnya kadang-kadang guidelines ataupun requirement tambahan ni akan menyebabkan VO terhadap satu projek. Jadi bila kadang-kadang pihak arkitek atau pihak klien, wakil semua datang jumpa dengan kita, kata kita nak buat ni boleh tapi kos kita banyak ni. And then lepas tu this one is not compulsory. Ini bukan apa tu ni, bukan mengikut kehendak undang-undang. Boleh tak kita nak buat? Kalau kita tak buat, kita akan buat kemudian. Tak ada masalah sebenarnya. Benda tu boleh bincang. Okey. Selain daripada tu, okey. Sentiasa rekod pertemuan anda dengan wakil PBT. Paling penting. Kerana contohnya sekiranya saya dah 19 tahun dekat Perbadanan Putrajaya, 15 tahun saya dekat bahagian kawalan bangunan. Semasa saya dengan dekat kawalan bangunan dulu, semua orang nak jumpa saya, apa benda semua berkenaan dengan untuk submission dan sebagainya. Okay, bila saya dah tak ada, and then ada pegawai ganti, nak juga jumpa saya, kata saya minta maaf lah, dah tak boleh, saya dah tak ada lagi dekat situ. And then minta semua kehendak-kehendak requirement daripada saya yang dahulu, minta saya cek. Saya kata saya cuma hanya boleh membantu sahaja, tapi kalau untuk yang sebenarnya kena refer kepada yang terkini, kepada pegawai-pegawai terkini. Kena rekod setiap masa, setiap saat. Contohnya jumpa saya ataupun jumpa Cik Hazwan pada hari berikut, pada bila dan sebagainya. Sekiranya memerlukan pengesahan, contohnya tiba-tiba Cik Hazwan lewat memberikan pengesahan, sebenarnya pihak konsultan sendiri boleh hantar email untuk membuatkan untuk memberikan maklumat pengesahan. Berdasarkan pada perbincangan saya dengan Tuan pada sekian-sekian, pada bila dan sebagainya, saya ingin mengesahkan perkara berikut. Kat sini, okey, boleh tak Tuan untuk membuat pengesahan ini? Ataupun sekiranya Tuan tidak memberi pengesahan dalam tempoh yang tertentu ini, perkara ini dianggap telah dipersetujui. Definitely lah, dia akan jawab. Saya pun akan jawab juga kat situ. Kalau saya tak bersetuju kan, kita akan jawab juga. Kadang-kadang wakil PBT ni, macam saya sendiri atau Hazwan sendiri atau siapa-siapa pun, kita bukan pegang satu projek, banyak projek. Kadang-kadang bagi kami, walaupun dahulu saya dalam untuk kelulusan pelan bangunan, tapi kadang-kadang kami terlibat dengan projek-projek khas, ada projek lain juga. Jadi kadang masa tu agak kekangan kat situ juga. Ada benda yang terlepas pandang dan sebagainya. Jadi mohonlah hubungi pegawai-pegawai tersebut. Jangan malu, jangan segan, minta nombor mereka. Dia boleh kasih. Kalau dia tak kasih sangat dekat nombor kat situ, tak kasih selalunya dekat dalam dekat directory tu memang ada. Kalau tak ada, kita cakap terus jumpa dengan bos dia, kita kata kita nak mintakan pengesahan ataupun ni daripada pegawai terlibat, tapi pegawai terlibat pun tidak dapat memberi kerjasama. Yang ni saya setuju dengan Cik Azra. Saya setuju. Sepatutnya semua pegawai PBT, bukan pegawai PBT, pegawai khidmat kerajaan, dia memberikan khidmat terbaik kepada semua orang, pelanggan, kepada orang awam. Itu yang saya selalu tekankan kepada staf-staf saya. Tak kira orang tu siapa sekalipun. Dia datang jumpa kita, sebenarnya dia nak minta bantuan daripada kita. Kita kena bantu dia. Walaupun you rasa susah macam mana sekali, tak apa. Kalau you tak boleh nak kasih bantuan, maklum pada saya akan saya akan luangkan masa juga macam mana sekalipun. Okey. Okey. Sebarang aduan dan juga perkara-perkara yang berbangkit, ketidakpuashatian dan sebagainya, please janganlah masuk dalam FB, janganlah masuk dalam Instagram. Sekarang ni TikTok, janganlah cerita begitu. Sebenarnya kita nak selesaikan isu. Betul Datuk? Kita nak selesaikan isu sebenarnya. Daripada perkara-perkara tersebut akan menjejaskan hubungan baik sebenarnya dekat situ. Bila jadi perkara tersebut, nak jumpa pun segan, malu. Dan hubungan sepatutnya kita nak perbincangan secara dua hala, tak dapat kita melalui perbincangan secara telefon dan sebagainya. Perbincangan melalui telefon ni masalah sebenarnya ni. Dia selalu ada miscommunication. Orang ni faham lain, ni faham lain. Duduk jumpa sama-sama, bawa plan sama-sama, tunjuk, okey macam ni semua. Oh macam ni, baru faham. Dan saya rasa saya nak tekankan kepada Tuan tadi, mengapa ya kadang-kadang pembentangan tu sepatutnya dah submit, tak perlu ada pembentangan dan sebagainya kan. Terus terang saya cakap berdasarkan daripada experience saya, kadang-kadang kami ni pun tak faham drawing apa yang submit. Seriously. Walaupun yang dikemukakan tu oleh daripada arkitek yang berpengalaman. Tetapi kita tak adalah kita nak kata, kenapa you buat macam ni, apa pun tak faham. Tidak. Kita nak pengesahan. Tolong datang untuk memberikan penerangan dengan sewajarnya. Dan dalam sesi penerangan tersebut, rugilah untuk bagi pihak kami, daripada contoh nak submit building plan approval, rugilah. Kita minta lah daripada untuk KM sekali, untuk kerja tanah sekali. Dalam tu perbincangan untuk semua sekali. Jelaskan sebenar-benarnya apa isu-isu berbangkit. Dan sekiranya ada pertambahan requirement, contohnya kan, kadang-kadang ni saya tak nafikan wakil daripada pegawai kerajaan ni ataupun PBT ni nakal sikit, dia minta lebih benda tu. Okey. Hak daripada pihak konsultan sepatutnya kena tegaskan kat sini. Ini seperti mana saya maklumkan, keperluan atau kehendak. Okey. PBT akan minta satu je, saya punya prinsip. First kali adalah safety. Kedua adalah compliance. Ketiga adalah comfort. 3 benda tu saja saya pegang. Okey, sama juga bila kita ada pemeriksaan masa CCC nanti Datuk. Kadang-kadang masa pemeriksaan pada CCC, drawing ni 2D saja. Kita tak nampak apa yang berlaku kat tapak. Kadang-kadang kehendak dekat tapak tu kita tengok, okey, sebenarnya kita lulus ni memang betul, tetapi kehendak kat tapak dia memerlukan lebih. Kita akan tengok. Safety issue, wajib. memang kena buat juga. Apa-apa pertambahan tu, tolong buat. Pasal ini safety issue. Kedua, compliance. Compliance pun kita kena tengok juga. Compliance tu major ke ataupun minor. Kalau compliance tu melibatkan kos yang besar, and then lepas tu dia melibatkan dalam bylaw, benda ni semua, okey, ini wajib lah. You kena buat. Try buat. Kalau you tak dapat buat sekarang, boleh tak you buat, kasih aku janji. Tetapi kalau comfort setakat asalnya ada jugalah. Ada satu tu untuk tangga, jejak tangga kan. Sepatutnya 255, lepas tu minta sampai 300 sebagainya kan. Itu ada minta tu, kita kata okey, this one akan melibatkan pertambahan kos dan sebagainya. Okey, kita akan nak ikut ni minimum requirement saja. Boleh atau tidak benda ni semua. Kerana kehendak daripada bylaw ini sahaja ketetapannya. Sebenarnya boleh pun, tetapi kadang-kadang ada miscommunication dekat sini. Itu yang berlakunya, kata ini tak ikut ni, nanti kan tak dapat kelulusan dan sebagainya. Tidak, tak ada pun macam tu. Okey. Lain-lain daripada tersebut, arahan bertulis. Siapa ada bangkitkan berkenaan dengan arahan bertulis tadi? Okey, ada kan? Okey, arahan bertulis dia macam-macam lah, Cik Azrul. Betul kan? Ada PBT yang memberi arahan bertulis tu general, kita pun tak tahu. Terpaksa mengadap, betul tak? Okey. Yang mengadap tu kadang-kadang first kali saya mohonlah wakil memang prinsipal yang kena hadir untuk dapatkan penerangan yang sewajarnya. Dan kalau you nak jumpa pun sebenarnya pun, kalau tak dapatkan you tak dapat kata putus daripada pegawai yang you jumpa, kadang-kadang betul yang jumpa ni sebenarnya adalah frontliner saja dekat situ. You boleh minta nak jumpa dengan bos dia. Boleh jumpa direct saja. Set appointment, jumpa saja dekat situ. Tak ada masalah. Sekiranya ada masalah, susah sangat nak jumpa, hak daripada semua orang, jumpa terus bos atas dia. Katakan kita ada masalah, kita nak selesaikan isu ni tetapi tidak dapat maklum balas ataupun kerjasama daripada pegawai terbabit, and then kita minta kerjasama puan untuk puan ataupun tuan pegawai yang atasnya untuk menyelaraskan perkara ini. Tak ada masalah pun kat situ. So dalam kes ini kita nampak macam, saya faham kadang-kadang daripada konsultan takut macam Cik arkitek Azrul tadi maklumkan, next project nanti ada masalah kan. Kita sebenarnya dekat dalam ni PBT pun kita be professional lah kat situ. Kita tak ada rasa macam kita nak pasal this project je kita nak berlaku lain. Tapi sekiranya berlaku dekat situ, boleh direct terus saja dengan dia punya pengurusan atasan.
Anything, Cik Hafiz?
Okay.
Maybe
last
word.
kali, sebenarnya dealing dengan pegawai-pegawai kerajaan ni sebenarnya mudah. Tetapi ada satu benda yang dalam hati kita mungkinlah daripada semua pihak nak terlalu menjaga hati, dan please janganlah memberi peluang dan ruang kepada pegawai-pegawai PBT membolehkan mereka mengambil kesempatan. Itu saja nasihat saya. Faham ya? Okey. Saya minta maaf Datuk kerana sebenarnya daripada situ sebenarnya yang akan menyebabkan nak deal dengan PBT ni jadi susah. Saya nampak begitu. Cumanya hopefully daripada semua pihak yang lain juga jangan juga mengambil kesempatan terhadap kami. Kadang-kadang bila orang ni terlalu baik dan sebagainya, pegawai-pegawai ni dapat membantu tetapi mengambil kesempatan. Yang itu saja yang susah juga bagi kami. Sekian tu saja Datuk. Kepada semua. Assalamualaikum.
Okey, terima kasih Cik Hafiz di atas tips dan juga perkongsian yang kita boleh apply lah dalam kita punya submissions. So ambil tips tu sebagai satu guidance, sebagai satu guideline yang kita boleh improve. As we come to the end to the sessions, so I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all our speakers, panelists and participants for making this discussion on the OSC system insightful and engaging. So we have covered many important points about the OSC system, from its challenges to opportunities for improvement. Your participation has made this discussion insightful and meaningful. So let's take these ideas forward and continue working to enhance the OSC role in driving development. So inshallah, PAM will compile the findings into a report to be submitted to the KPKT. So I think thanks everyone. Thank you once again for your time and input. Have a great evening and hope we see you at the future session. Thank you everyone.